Hi, welcome back, and thanks for watching again. Today's video, you probably already guessed from the title and probably the thumbnail as well, but we're going to be taking a look at this guitar. See if we can get it in focus. I'll have some close-ups of different parts, photographs of different parts as the video goes on, but it's my first Strat ever. This is the first Strat I have ever owned in my entire life. I'm more of a Tele guy, if you haven't noticed through all the videos. I only play one guitar, and that's my Telecaster. But also the reason why I choose that guitar for my video is that I think between the neck pickup and the bridge pickup of a Tele, you get such a variety of tones that it's great when you're trying to demo pedals or play through different tones when you're comparing tones and all that stuff. So I have some other guitars that I've never used in my videos, but I have never owned a Strat, and so this is the first Strat I've ever owned. I'm not an expert on this stuff, so I recommend, if you guys are interested, please do some research online. There are plenty of websites that were written by people who have tons of knowledge about this stuff. But just to sum up, what I learned from reading those sites is that when Fender Japan first started in 1982, they had the JV models, the famous JV models. And even I think this was the 40th anniversary, so Fender Japan released a whole series of JV serial number commemorative Strats and Teles and basses and stuff. But so the JV stuff is really famous. But right around the same time period, Fender Japan released a bunch of guitars under the Squier brand for the domestic market, and some of the earliest ones had an SQ serial number right alongside the JV serial number, and so this is one of them. The model is a ST551, I think. I'll have the specs on the screen right now. It's an alder body, maple neck with a rosewood fingerboard, slab fingerboard, 22 frets, and Squier original pickups. Just going into a little bit more of the details of what this actually is. When they first came out with the Fender Japan stuff, it was all vintage spec models, like the 50s Strats, the 60s Strats, and then the large headstock 70s Strats. And I think with the Squier brand, they had a little more liberty to just have fun and do something different. And so they made a run of sort of super Strat type Strats. And those were called the Contemporary series, and I think I'll have a photograph, but this is on the headstock where it usually says contour body or something like that. It says Contemporary series. And so this is from what was the Contemporary series of that early Squier run in '83, and it was trying to compete with the super Strat market that was starting to get big. This is early '80s. You know, you're starting to see a lot of hard rock, hair metal bands, and starting to see a lot of that super Strat stuff pop up. And so this was their attempt at sort of breaking into that market. And so there are a bunch of Strats in this Contemporary series, and some of them have two humbuckers. I think some of them have like this beefy single coil with a big magnet and stuff like that, and then locking nuts. I don't know what they're called, but the hex locking stuff up here, and a bunch of other stuff too. But the cool thing about this series is that they all had, I don't know if they all did, but a lot of them had the matching headstock look. And although the logo and the writing of the Stratocaster isn't in line with what was actually done in the 60s, it is still a matching headstock Strat. I am a big fan of matching headstock Fenders. I love the look of matching headstock Fenders. I always thought that they were super cool looking, and if I were to get a Strat, I always wanted a matching headstock model. if you wanted to get a matching headstock Strat from that early JV slash SQ serial number, very early Fender Japan run that was made by Fujigen, and then also have it be your traditional 3 single coil Strat setup, this is pretty much your only option. This actually only lasted for, I think it was 2 years. I think 83, it started in 83 and then it ran through 84, but I think sometime in 84, maybe 85, they switched over to what's called the Boxer series, and they got rid of this contemporary series altogether. Didn't make any more matching headstock stuff. They changed over to more like the typical Super Strat kind of look, with, I think it was like a black headstock and like a color body, but the colors weren't like your traditional Fender colors, but more like red or yellow. And so this is somewhat rare in that they didn't make it for too long, because they made all the other traditional, more vintage spec Squiers and Fender Japans for many years after that. But the matching headstock, this type of model, only lasted for I think 1 or 2 years. It has the black knobs and black pickup covers and all that stuff. And after I bought it, I thought I would replace it. I think I'm just going to leave it as it is. As for the pickups, some people don't like it. Some people say it's fine. I really don't know, because this is the first and only Strat I've ever owned, so I have nothing to compare it against. But it sounds like a Strat to me, and it sounds fine. It actually sounds really good, and it has a 5-way switch, so that's great. And yeah, so I think it's a really good guitar. And then I think the most important thing is the feel of it, and it just feels great. It has a great neck, obviously very well built, it has a solid feel to it, and the tuners and everything else just feels really good. So absolutely no complaints there. And the crazy part was when I took it apart and did a full clean through, cleaned out all the gunk and whatever that had accumulated over the years. And when I took it apart, I'll throw in a picture, but apparently whoever owned this before me never ever took it apart, because there's still plastic under one of the screws on the pick guard, and then there's also still plastic from underneath the 22nd fret. So whoever bought it, he or she just peeled off the plastic and then just played the hell of it, because the pickup cover is kind of beveled over here where you play it the most. And so whoever owned it, I think really loved this guitar and played the hell out of it, but never ever tried to mod it or ever thought about taking it apart in any way. So I thought that was really cool. Otherwise, it's wired like a traditional Strat, so the tone knob doesn't work on the bridge, which is okay. The tone knob, the bridge pickup isn't too harsh, and I measured the resistance on the pickups, and they all came out at 6.2K. So that seems like a pretty standard, typical Strat resistance value. So yeah, I think that's it. What else? Oh, and it's a poly finish, but it's an extremely thin poly finish. I'll put a picture up. There's one crack, and through that crack you can see the wood, but you can see how thin the finish is. So it's got a really thin poly finish, and so I thought that was really cool, because the Telecaster that I have, that you see in all my videos, has a crazy thick poly finish. It's probably like, I don't know, I wouldn't say 5 mil, but probably at least 3 millimeters thick. And so this has a really thin poly finish, and I think it's a really cool looking guitar in a really good condition. Has a really interesting history to it too. Okay, so I have 2 pedals here. This is the breadboard overdrive that we built. I think it was like a month ago. I did a full how to build an overdrive on a breadboard video. Actually, there are two parts to it, part 1 and part 2. So if you're interested, please go check that out. I talk about the schematics and then actually how to build this. And then over here we have the famous tube screamer, which I thought would be appropriate when playing a Strat. So we'll check that out. But let's start off with the clean tone first. This breadboard is bypassed right now because I have these two connected to each other. So we'll start off on the neck. Just play some simple chords. Okay, and this is what position 4, the neck and the middle pickup. Okay, and on to the middle position. Okay, so position 2, the bridge and the middle. And then finally the bridge. Okay, so we'll go back to the neck. Let's see, let's try something. Try something in C. Okay, so now let's move on to some overdrive tones, and I've connected the breadboard overdrive into the circuit, so it's on now, and I have the tone and the output volume at what I consider to be the sweet spot. This is the gain knob. It is at noon right now, so just to show you. Okay, so let's play some chords. We'll do the typical EAD thing. Okay, so from here on, I'm just going to do some random playing. I won't go through all 5 positions with the same lick, but we'll just hear what it sounds like through this breadboard pedal, and then also through the tube screamer, just to get an idea. So just some random noodling stuff.